Welcome to this week's episode of Lagnapod. I'm your host, Rob Holbert, and we are sponsored this week. So get ready for a night where music meets mission at the USA Health Doc Rock fundraising event January 29th at Soul Kitchen in downtown Mobile. The show starts promptly at 7 p.m. You can purchase tickets and vote for your favorite bands online today at usahealthsystem.com/.rock. Purchase tickets and vote for your favorite bands online today at usahealthsystems.com/DocRock and join the fun. All right, everybody else who's here, introduce yourselves.
This is Ashley Trice, and I'll have to say, I love that event. If you don't know, it's like a battle of the bands, but all of the bands have some sort of connection to USA. So it's like med students and
doctors and nurses and patients.
Nurses, yeah. So, so it's lots of fun.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
That's a good time.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself,
Grant McLaughlin,
Scott Johnson,
Kyle Hamrick,
Tommy Hicks.
Okay, we're back. We're here. We're all good to go. Fresh off of Kay Ivey's final State of the State. Kyle, you covered the event. Not up there. You just covered it.
Well, I actually
at a
drove
distance, right?
really quickly
not.
up there and
Yeah.
sped back here to write the story.
What was your impression of it? We got, they always send this thing beforehand so you can
Yes.
see it and
Yes.
you can read it, but it's not the same as having the delivery.
No. But we got to read it and we got to see it too via live stream.
You got to live it.
Everybody knows that the session before an election is a bit of a snoozer.
Yeah.
So there's not a whole lot, exciting or really big that's coming out of this session.
I don't know.
Gambling.
There may
Well,
be. You never know.
There's still
We'll see.
time, but there's not going to be gambling or anything
Not like
that.
Yes.
So
Anything
the
that might
speech-
get you unelected. Yes.
Right,
Yes.
right. The speech was a little bit of a snoozer too, but she
Are you saying she
delivered.
fell asleep?
She did not fall asleep. She had a good reading of it, a good speaking, but she did cough a good bit at the start. Once we got that out
She
of
was
the way,
sponsored by Luden's Cough Drops.
She
Yes.
could have benefited from a Luden's cough drop at the start of it, but she kind of walked us through her 9 years in office. She took over after Bentley had to step down for reasons.
For reasons.
And
For reasons.
She
I think we all know about
traced-
those reasons.
Yeah, they've been written about. So she kind of traced her way through that, and she said that something that she wants to see get done this year would be there's a bill by Matt Simpson, a state rep from Daphne, to sentence people who are convicted of raping children to life or death. So we got that going. She's excited also about some more money for school choice. She wants to pump more money into the Choose Act. That's a program where you can get like a tax credit for sending your kid to a private school.
Yeah. Okay.
But she gave a good showing. She kind of wrapped things up well as far as it goes for Kay Ivey.
What was your favorite moment of the speech?
My favorite moment of the speech would have to be when she got down toward the very end. She started going down the list of the leaders of the Senate, the leaders of the House, and she got to Senator Bobby Singleton, who is from Greensboro. He's the minority leader in the Senate. He's a Democrat. She described him as her brother from another mother.
There you go. Okay. Was that in the speech? Was it
That
written
was
in the speech? So it was written. It was on the teleprompter.
It was
in the
premeditated.
speech.
Premeditated.
A premeditated
brother from another
There you
mother.
go.
And a
Okay.
brother from another mother is kind of
There you
how
go.
she said it
That wasn't
there,
half
and
bad.
it was in the speech.
Did it bring the
Somebody
house down?
Brought the house down
Yeah.
to its knees.
Yep.
State Senator Jabbo Wagner also got a bit of a shout out.
Yeah.
He's one of the oldest members of the legislature.
Yeah.
He's been up there for a long time. She opened up her speech with a bit of a nod to him. Just said, we've been here for 10 years, and I don't think we've aged a day. Right, Jabbo? And
Also another
that kinda-
laugh line. Yeah.
some
Good
laugh
one.
lines.
Yeah.
So she brought the jokes. She had some
She always
jokes.
does. She always does.
But yeah, so that's the final one from her. The The legislative session is going on as we speak. And we got some great coverage of that on our website in the works.
Yeah. So speaking of the legislative session, we've got one of the big things that we do know is coming up is that Senator Chris Elliott, is going to put a bill out to allegedly stop the federal mud dumping, is what we call it, or the thin layer placement of dredge spoils is what it technically is.
That's right.
And
that's right. I'm going to toss it to Grant here.
Yeah, it's probably going to be easily the most exciting thing that happens for South Alabamians in the legislature this year.
And you think it's going to happen pretty quickly, right?
Well, I don't think it's going to happen pretty quickly. Rhett Marcus, who is a House member from Enterprise and currently running for our District 1 Congress seat.
Yes.
He told me shortly after the press conference on Monday that, it's going up in committee. What is it? It's Wednesday as we're sitting down here. It's going up in committee in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And he wants it on the floor tomorrow, which will be Thursday.
So what would the bill do?
Essentially, what the bill will do is make the dredge project, which is the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers' ongoing maintenance of the Port of Mobile's shipping channels.
Right.
That's all of them.
Right.
It would essentially put them as part of the Alabama Coastal Management Plan, which is overseen by the Alabama Department of Environmental Management and the Alabama Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. And it will direct those agencies to regulate how much dredge material they can put back into the bay. Total wise, 70% over 1 million cubic yards per year has to go toward beneficial uses, which are not thin layer placement is not included.
So this is more or less mirroring the legislation that Katie Britt has been pushing, right?
Well, successfully pushed. I believe it passed in 2024.
Yeah.
So, kind of letting y'all in back behind stage here. The Corps has to dedicate 70% of all of its dredge material from all of its dredging activities across the country toward beneficial use.
Right.
Mobile's dredge project has been put under this 30% exemption.
Right.
And at the same time, other projects that were also part of that initial 30% after this bill was passed, those have gone away as other states, such as Florida, for example, have banned thin layer placement in state waters.
Most people have, yes. So in this case, the Corps is either going to have to find beneficial uses for it, or it's going to have to take it out for open water disposal out in the Gulf.
Exactly.
Which is what they don't want to do. It costs more. It gets back down to the issue of whether they're claiming it's better for the bay to actually do the thin layer placement, which is a 180 from where they were back in 1980s.
It'll certainly be interesting to see where, as I mentioned in the story, the Port Authority, Alabama Port Authority, is going to have a voice here because they've been a voice in the past. They've historically defended the practice of thin layer placement. But they've got a new director, Doug Otto, and according to Marcus, he's expressed, it's kind of in the vein of as long as we still have funding to do these dredging projects, we'll stay out of the way.
Yeah, they're kind of being a little agnostic about it, saying, "Hey, we're neither here nor there, just as long as the money doesn't get cut off."
I do wonder if Otto will have to testify in front of a committee at the legislature this year. I wonder if they'll ask him about that.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I think from my personal standpoint, and just I live on the bay and I see the water looks incredibly cleaner and clearer since the dredging has stopped. It's going to start again back in April. The maintenance dredging is supposed to start again in April, but I will say that it has been much less turgid, as they say.
There might be a new law of the land.
Turbulent. I'm messing up the word. What is it?
Turbidity.
Turbidity, not turgid.
Turbidity of the water.
Turgidity is not what we're talking about here.
I don't know what that is.
It's not that. It's not that. It's not that.
Has anybody addressed the sediment deficit problem. The Corps has brought that up in the past, where there was a sediment deficit.
So 30% of the dredge material that they collect on an annual basis, over 1 million cubic yards, could still be put back into the bay via thin layer placement.
Yes.
And that would they specifically mentioned the nutrients in the dredge spoils as kind of like this, kind of making that more of like a compromise approach.
The nutrients that were at the bottom of the...
So the bill does not end federal dumping.
It doesn't outright ban it fully. It bans them using it for the larger portion of the dredge material collected.
Well, we'll see where that goes. We'll see where it goes. The legislature is off and running, so we'll have a lot more on that coming up this next week. And we're going to take a quick break and come back and talk a little bit with Tommy Hicks. Be right back.
Laissez les bon temps rouler. That's right, the good times can now officially roll because this year's Mobile Mask, the Reveler's Guide to Mardi Gras in Mobile, Alabama, is on stands now. Find the most comprehensive parade, ball and event schedules, route maps, and parade watching tips, and dive into the histories of the mystic societies that bring the season to life. You'll also enjoy features on the movers, shakers, and makers who make Mardi Gras magic happen. From Mobile to Baldwin County, if it rolls, marches, or celebrates, you'll find it in Mobile Mask. Available at area Rouse's, Greer's, Pops Midtown, Port City Throws, Toomey's, and more. For a full list of distribution locations or to order online, mobilemask.com. Don't miss a bead, don't miss a beat. Mobile Mask, your go-to guide for all things Mardi Gras.
And we are back in the college football final. The title game is going to be this upcoming Monday.
Finally,
are you? Yeah, it's kind of. It seems like a long time, doesn't it?
It does.
But it hasn't produced a lot of great games, but it has produced some great games.
Some,
yes,
a couple.
Yeah,
a lot of blowouts.
A lot of blowouts. Yeah, I mean, a lot of things that Indiana is involved in, and I'm afraid it may produce one more, but we'll see.
It very well could. I mean, I watched that game the other night, and boy, they look really, really good.
They look like a really good football team. Yeah,
and they're a team. Yeah. A lot more than you could say for other schools that have like certain players who really make them go. This is a team, and they made a lot. Lots of people made of the fact there are no 5 stars on this team. He got a lot of 2 stars or 3 stars, and kind of molded them into his Signetti. Molded them into what he sees as the way they should play, and they've taken it on.
They seem, in my mind, to move very much in unison. Like the team seems to move in one direction at the same time. Is that just me?
No. I think that's exactly what makes them go.
They seem kind of that
way.
They
don't make mistakes.
Yeah.
And, they have very few penalties. They don't shoot themselves in the foot. They don't put themselves in a bad situation. I mean, the other night, very first play from scrimmage, it was a pick 6.
Right.
The next thing you knew, it was 105-0. And the game was over. So, I mean, that's going to be an interesting game. I mean, Miami has a really good defensive front and a good defense overall. So, but a lot of other teams that have played Indiana supposedly had good defenses too, and they haven't had any problems. So.
Well, that's it's an interesting part too. Well, one of the things that I get a kick out of too is watching every subsequent team that has been beaten by Indiana badly. Everybody's like, okay, well that just shows we're not that bad. We weren't as bad as people thought. I mean, Alabama got pounded, and it's like, well, that's terrible. But then they've continued to do that. Everybody feels a little less bad.
Not a bad loss.
Feels a little less bad about the beating.
Better, thank you.
As a Ole Miss fan, we're kind of like, well, I think maybe we just avoided a beating.
Yeah.
It's.
But just watching them play. I mean, I really appreciate what Signetti has done and how he's done that. I mean, how interesting has it been with, say what you want to about if James Madison deserved to be in or if Tulane deserved to be in. I mean, they haven't fared any worse than some other teams that have gone a little further. So I guess it's just a matter of who you play in and who you run up against and how you handle those situations.
Well, I mean, the college playoff is cool. I like it. It does I don't know if it produces any more blowouts than we usually see in college football, but it's and it's hard when you're comparing it to the NFL, which had almost all the games, just the Monday night game that turned into a runaway, really, but the other games were real nail biters all the way up until the fourth quarter. So it's tough to compare it to that, but I still think they maybe need to tweak it a little bit and figure out some ways to. I mean, there's some of those teams that just squeaked in. Although Miami is a team that basically just squeaked in,
yeah,
and they're in the final. But some of the others maybe we might have been a little bit better represented with somebody else in there.
Yeah, I think there's definitely going to be some changes into criteria.
Yeah.
If nothing else, or who gets in, and it sure looks like people are going to really push to make it a 16 team and to add 4 more to the.
Well, that'll just make it even better.
Yeah. I mean,
do you think the conference championship games will survive that?
It's going to be hard. But on the other hand, look at the money that the conference championship game brings into the league, into the teams.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard for them to take that revenue stream and go, we don't need that. But it's going to be a consideration. I mean, it's got to be something they're talking about, because now you're playing. If you win it, what are you playing? 15 games, 16 games.
Yeah.
I mean, if you win a conference championship, that's 3, and if you don't get a bye, then you're playing 3 more.
Yeah,
that's a lot of football.
It is.
That's a lot of football
for those kids. They got to study too. They've got to study.
Yeah, they are. They're studying game film
at a time when they're already beat up.
Yeah.
So
just getting ready for the NFL.
Yeah.
So, the portal. The portal is closing soon.
Thank goodness.
Stargate.
Yes.
Friday it closes, but that just means you enter your name into it. That's the deadline for entering the portal. That will not end the portal.
That doesn't end the portal.
They'll still be recruiting players whose names are in there.
People being beamed up
yes.
at different rates. Yes.
There's already been a lot of interesting stuff. I mean, look at Cam Coleman at Auburn is going to go to Texas. Alabama thought they had the Smothers kid who was supposedly the best running back available. He flipped to Texas. So Arch will have Cam Coleman to throw it to and Smothers to hand it to next year.
Okay.
That's going to make
That'll
him very good right off the start.
That'll help him.
But I mean, and what it means locally is that South Alabama is good. Every year now, it's going to be, they're at that mid-major level.
Yeah.
They're going to lose a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to sign a lot of kids to fill those vacancies. But look at Alabama and look at Texas and look at Georgia. All those they're losing 25 or 30 players each because they're losing their depth. The starters will stay, and then everybody else will take off. Yeah. Because they'll look to start somewhere else because they're tired of not playing.
That's what it seems like.
So it's going to be that group's going to do their business, and then it'll, like everything else, it'll fall downhill. Then South Alabama and the mid-majors and the group of 5 or 6 or whatever number it is these days, they'll lose their guys, and then it'll go from there. So then they'll maybe get some guys from the upper group that aren't playing that are looking for a chance to play.
A guy who's a third stringer, he wants to come back down.
It's just the way it's going to be in college football.
That is. And then we've got some basketball coming up this week.
We do. Monday, we're going to have the Bridge Builder Classic at the Mitchell Center, which is kind of an interesting little deal. There'll be some high school games in the morning, starting in the morning at 9 o'clock. And then in the afternoon, Alabama A&M women will play at 2, and the Alabama A&M Alabama State women will play at a men's team will play at 4. So a whole day of basketball for those who might want to see a little high school, a little college in the same spot.
Well, Tommy, thanks so much for everything, and we will come back in just a minute.
Laissez les bon temps rouler. That's right, the good times can now officially roll because this year's Mobile Mask, the Reveler's Guide to Mardi Gras in Mobile, Alabama, is on stands now. Find the most comprehensive parade, ball and event schedules, route maps, and parade watching tips, and dive into the histories of the mystic societies that bring the season to life. You'll also enjoy features on the movers, shakers, and makers who make Mardi Gras magic happen. From Mobile to Baldwin County, if it rolls, marches, or celebrates, you'll find it in Mobile Mask. Available at Area Rouse's, Greer's, Pops Midtown, Port City Throws, Toomey's, and more. For a full list of distribution locations or to order online, mobilemask.com. Don't miss a bead, don't miss a beat. Mobile Mask, your go-to guide for all things Mardi Gras.
And we are back. Scott, you've got the cover story this week, which is a very interesting take on the whole issue of, it's really about Blue Cross Blue Shield primarily, and about I guess there's some sound effects going on over here in the sound effect area. But it's about Blue Cross Blue Shield and people having breast reconstruction surgery after cancer, and what's going on there.
Yeah, and I think it's at a broader view. I think it kind of hints at some larger questions rather than just this one doctor. So, Dr. Mark Stalder began an advanced practice of breast reconstruction back in 2022 or 2022, and instead of doing implants or using a muscle from your ab or your back, he's actually using live fat, and he's using microsurgery with connecting vessels.
Yeah.
And very advanced stuff, hard to do. Think 4 to 8 hours of surgery for this procedure.
Okay.
Hey, it's not available here. He brought it. He was practicing in New Orleans, where this kind of procedure was perfected over the last 30 years.
Okay.
And there's a steady flow of patients coming from the Mobile area to there because no one was doing this. So he decides to open a practice. And the first place he goes to is Blue Cross Blue Shield. And there's crickets, basically, when he's saying, let's negotiate some rates. Yeah. What they have on the table is paying out worse than Medicare and Medicaid. And if you're not familiar with how all this works, they have a price, they negotiate, carriers negotiate what are they going to pay.
Right.
And that's their rate with a contract. So physicians obtain those, hospitals obtain those for fees. Their rates were so low that if they had agreed to do that, they would be losing money to do this here.
I think the thing that's really interesting about the story is it just kind of exposes the whole concept of, in medicine, the price isn't really the price, and it really is. There's a lot of negotiating going on behind the scenes. You the patient may not ever see that, but certainly for Blue Cross Blue Shield, they're paying a certain amount based upon if you're signed with them, if you're in their group or not in their group, and that kind of stuff. And so, I mean, it's weird to say, hey, this surgery is worth this much if you are signed up. It costs this much if you're not, and I think it really brings that out, a lot of it.
There's a sticker price, and then there's the market, quote unquote, market price,
actual price,
which is about 40% roughly lower most of the time.
Right.
I think Blue Cross was offering for this surgery something around 20.
Yeah. So
very low. And, Dr. Staller believes that's kind of the reason why this wasn't being available, is because there was, there basically is no competition.
Yeah.
With Blue Cross. They're 84% of the market here. So everyone is in contract with them. But because of some patient protection laws, federal regulations, he knew that I could operate on Blue Cross Blue Shield members, and then there's still an avenue to pay. Well, right after they finally use that for, that option where there's an appeal and an arbitration to get paid, and then within days of them securing that payment from Blue Cross, it was, Morgan Stalder, his wife, who runs the business side of the practice, says it was like the eye of Sauron shifting over to them. It was like when Blue Cross Blue Shield realized that they could not.
But they'd found the loophole basically to get fully paid on this thing, or get the higher rate on it.
The Stallers claim that then Blue Cross came after their hospital privileges, their referring physicians, and then their patients, and basically trying to I guess more or less, for lack of a better term, deplatforming them out of the healthcare industry over here locally. it's really, again, I think it's a broader story looking at how much power and influence Blue Cross can wield, how they can throw their weight around, where it looks like they were threatening USA Providence, threatening their contract over Dr. Stahler's practice there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's, they have a huge percentage of the state in terms of market share, and they really do control a lot of that kind of stuff. And, it goes back to the whole issue of whether we should have more. People look at healthcare in this country and say, what is the problem with it? One of the biggest problems is that most states have a monopolistic type of healthcare system going on, or provider in that dominates it. So you don't really have a lot of options.
Yeah, I was looking at a report this morning where Alabama has the least amount of market competition for health insurance products.
Well, and that's probably where a lot of this comes from. It's a great story. People ought to check it out. Also, Kyle, this week we're talking about the SSUT. That is not a boat. That is not a boat. That is a tax. It's the internet tax.
That is the simplified seller's use tax, or online sales tax.
Online sales tax.
And everybody who shops online knows
the cities and counties are going to war on this thing.
They are entrenched, and the sheriffs have come out on the side of the counties. Last week there was a press conference. The Association of County Commissions came out with former Baldwin County Sheriff Huey Hoss Mack, who is now the head of the Association of Sheriffs.
Yes.
And they said together that if the state moves to change or to get rid of the online sales tax, like the city of Tuscaloosa and the city of Mobile would like them to do, then
Mobile and Tuscaloosa have filed suit. Tuscaloosa filed a suit. Mobile joined in on it.
That's right. That's right. If we move to change the way the online sales tax is distributed at all, public safety funding could be jeopardized.
Crime will rise.
Crime will go up, and people will go down. It is not a good scene that the counties and sheriffs painted here.
Well,
the way that it works is the state gets a lot of the SSUT money. A little bit goes to the cities and counties, but the cities claim that it's not fair, that they should get more of the money that's collected
City Mobile
in their
saying
city.
It's going to be, what, $34 million
$34
like that?
million off is what they could be getting if they were to get all of the online sales tax.
And Mobile County would lose somewhere in the neighborhood, $6 million, $7 million, something like that.
$5 million or $6 million.
I don't want to get people excited.
$6-7 million, $8-9 million, something like that. Well, money is on the line here, and when there's money on the line, things get a little ugly.
Well, where is this going to be fought out in the legislature?
This is right now being fought out in court. I've not heard anything about a fix to this
legislative remedy
in the legislature yet. We're still in the early stages. Something could come up, but right now this thing's going to court in March.
All right. Well, that is going to also be a big one to watch, and we will be watching it. Well, I think that's all we've got this week, folks. Thanks.
Oh, hold on. I just want to thank our sponsor one more time.
Oh, yes. Thank our sponsor. Yes.
The Doc Rock event.
Yes. Thank you, sponsor. Thanks, Doc Rock. I can't wait to see the doctors rock. They are, my physician's a rocker. He likes to play, so that's good. Anyway, good stuff. I hope his band's in there. Well, y'all have a great week. Thanks for listening to LagnaPod. We'll see y'all next week.
The LagnaPod is a Something Extra publishing production. Executive producers are Rob Holbert and Ashley Trice. Music is by Sunpulse Sounds and Electro Animals. Only subscribers like you have access to this podcast. Tell your friends they can sign up at my.lanyapmobile.com. For advertising opportunities, please call 251-450-4466.